Welcome to Critter Visits and your incubator, setting up for your hatching experience with us. We're delighted you've decided to use our services, and here we are to help you. We're going to introduce your very special incubator. This is the IncuView domed incubator, complete with a white turner, that you've been able to rent from us. And we're going to show you what you get in your kit. So one of the first things is the actual manual itself. And inside the manual is a customized sheet that has the check dates for your hatch, a little bit of a quick list. List of the different birds you'll get in your hatch, and a checklist. So you've got your instruction manual, the IncuView incubator, which is right here, and inside there's white egg turning racks. We've given you a bucket of chick starter, and this is what it looks like, and we'll ask that you return the bucket when you're done. There's a holder for the feed that looks like this. There's a couple different ones, but it's got big holes in it. There's going to be a water holder as well, and it looks something like this. It's got a very small hole, and we're going to show you how that works in another video. We've given you some marbles, and that's an important part when you're hatching very small eggs. There is a sponge, and the sponge is needed during lockdown, one of our different stages in the incubation process, and we'll show you where to use the sponge in a little bit as well, just a typical cellulose sponge. We've given you some vitamin supplement. We call this chick Gatorade or duck Gatorade, and we'll show you how to use that later. We've given you a heat lamp, which could be white or silver, and the bulb that goes with it, you'll screw in there, and we'll show you how to do that a bit later. We've given you some eggs in a carton, and we generally give you 2 dozen eggs. There'll be a bale of shavings. We'll also be giving you a funnel, and all of this is in a handy dandy bag. So we're going to go through how to set your incubator up and ready for your hatch. Most of the items in terms of the brooder box that you need, we're not going to deal with right now. We're going to just tuck those aside for later on and walk that through in another video. But we're going to walk you through. We've also given you some critter cards. So this is a I hatched a duckling card if you've got ducklings you're hatching. The I hatched a chick card if you've got chicks you're hatching. Some of our cards that you can share with your friends that tell about our visits where we bring the whole farm to you, and also school program cards. So be sure to share those around with your friends and let them know where you found us. So let's go through what we need to know in the hatch. Everything I'm going to tell you is in this manual, and it's all done bit at a time, and we're going to show you all the things that are in this manual and talk to you about all the steps and stages that are in the hatch. So let's start with the manual and the incubator. So this is your IncuView incubator. It's a lovely unit, and it's one of my favorites, and I'm going to plug this right into the wall right now. There we go. And it's going to turn itself on, and you can see on the dial on the top it says IncuView start setup days 21. That's how many days it takes to hatch a chick. There is a dial here that says add water, because that's our humidity meter. It's got the incubation period in 1 gray and the hatching period with a higher humidity, and it also has a turning rod. So I'm going to open this up and show you that there is a black rod right here that sticks down. So whenever you have the lid off, you want to make sure that that's not touching the ground. And this is part of the turning device. It actually rolls the eggs back and forth. So I'm going to just tip it up on here so it's not in the way. There is a tray, and that's going to hold the eggs and roll back and forth. There's a piece of mesh, and inside there are channels. So you're going to put about a cup of water in here and fill in the channels at the bottom. Later on, you can use the funnel, and you can help aim into this incubator to fill it up. So you can use your funnel later on and put it over part of the incubator to help get the water without touching the eggs down into the channels, and it'll actually spread very easily down to the channels. So you're going to put about a cup of water in, and you're going to make sure that this black rod ends up inside this channel here. It can't miss and be on the outside. It has to actually be in the channel, and we're going to make it go all the way to the end there and make sure that the lid is on securely on all 4 corners. Then you're going to leave this sitting for about an hour till it gets up to temperature. Where does it need to sit? On a flat surface. Sometimes people put some plastic underneath it in case you spill water as you're putting your water in and out. You also need to make sure that it's not in direct sunlight, because this will act like a greenhouse and cause the unit to heat way up too hot and not control the temperature. And you want a room that has a consistent temperature in it as well. If your room gets really chilly at night and really warm in the daytime, the incubator is going to work way too hard and not have a successful hatch. Behind this little computer is a fan and a heating device, and the probe here is what is measuring inside the incubator the humidity and the temperature that will continually read on here. So right now it has a T with a 78.4 Fahrenheit. It's going to keep climbing up until it gets to be 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's where we want to hatch our chicken eggs. Quail eggs hatch a little bit cooler, and duck eggs will hatch a little bit warmer. We'll make sure that your incubator is set to the correct temperature and that it's set to the correct number of days. The days will count down and they'll get to day 2, and this will stop turning. How it turns is this little motor will turn and cause the eggs to roll all the way to one side, and later on they'll roll back, and they'll do this about 6 times a day. So we're going to use our imaginations and say, hey, our temperature is now at 100 degrees. We've got it in the spot we want it, and we don't want to move our incubator. Once it's set up, it must stay in the same position. Taking it home on the weekend is just not allowed, unless of course you are home, and then it's very much allowed. But we want to keep it in the same spot. We've got our temperature up. We've got our humidity where we want it to be. We're going to take the lid off very carefully again, making sure that our black rod is not going to set on the table. We don't want to bend that. And we're going to get our eggs. Now the neat thing about our eggs is that we've got 2 dozen for you. I'm just going to put a dozen in. And you're just going to set them into the channels sideways. You don't want to put them like this. This doesn't work. You want the eggs to sit the long ways so they roll. So you're going to make sure that the eggs are the long ways in the channel. Sometimes the eggs are really small and they may turn sideways. So when you go to add water, you can always give them a little nudge and put them the same way. You can put the eggs in any of the channels randomly. They don't all have to be together. They all just go in like that once your temperature and humidity are correct. Then you're going to put the lid back on, making sure that black rod is where it belongs, checking your 4 corners and letting it sit. Most of your hatch is going to be about sitting and waiting. You can look at your eggs and candle them during the hatch, and we'll take care of candling in another video in just a few minutes. Don't forget, if you have any questions, you can call us, text us, or email us. Now, one of the cool things is there's a free app called Hatch-A-Batch for your iPhone or Android, and you can go in and download this app and set up the app so that you can have a follow-through, step-by-step guide of your hatch. Also in the manual is when to help and when not to help, and some really cool development videos as your chick develops. This is some of the photographs that I've grabbed offline, and you can see about the candling, and we'll go through that in our next video. So keep going. You're doing great so far.